So if you've caught it, you noticed that what we suspect is Israel made a pager attack, using telecommunications to make suspected Hezbollah people have their pagers explode while they're in their pockets. And I believe up to 12 people have been killed. Check me on that. And what does that mean? Well, I think you need to understand, even though I side with Israel on most stuff and not the Zionist government, I love the Israeli people as much as I love the Palestinian people, but not the Hamas or the other terrorist organizations. But I think it's important to note that if you remember back when Trump was president, we had a reporter that traveled to Turkey. And in Turkey, when he was going to get the blessing for his wife, whose dad was in Turkey, he was murdered and dismembered in Turkey. And his body was put in multiple bags and hauled out of the area which happened. And it was all linked to the Saudi prince, okay? And it put Trump in a tough position. But how we know that happened is because for long standing, there has been a company that is Israeli owned that was up for sale for some time briefly, just recently, that specializes in hacking iPhones remotely. And I would question just how good their hacking is, because I believe after what you've seen yesterday, that it was a test to see the capabilities of mandated backdoors to governments, is what that is. See, you can build a device because the government builds them that you can't hack into using Linux and other specific, because it requires a super user password, right? An admin password to get on the systems. And it's held nowhere, only in memory alone. And so for you to begin to conceptualize what that really meant yesterday, right? When we talk about electromagnetic pulses, or we talk about the government taking over, or we talk about what it would look like in a civil war condition, or what it would look like in certain scenarios, or better yet, what it does not look like in some of these global conflicts around the world, specifically Ukraine, we can take from the information that was presented yesterday that, one, they have everybody's phone number, for sure. And that, two, they have the capabilities to use some type of telecommunications to activate that device's battery to short, overheat, and explode, okay? And a pager's battery is a lot smaller than a cell phone battery that I'm holding. And if that is the case, they can do that to cell phones. But here's my proposal, right? If they can do that to cell phones, what about vehicles? Specifically those that have Wi-Fi connected info systems and are connected to Navstar and all this other stuff, or Qualcomm and semis that use it for GPS tracking. All that is using the same cellular signal that pager was using, right? And what would that look like? See, if they really wanted to destroy the United States, all they would do was cause a small little explosion in every semi across the nation. And within 7 days, it would be total fucking chaos, because no infrastructure would be supported. Grocery stores would be empty. Or they could just take over the controlling of some of these electronic cars that have autonomous systems in them, right? Because obviously they can do whatever the hell they want to. And so when we start to begin to engage the idea of how the possible attack would come to civilization, well, I think it's already here. And I'm holding it. And you're watching it right now. For sure. Anything that's connected to the internet is susceptible. and anything that is connected to the internet, I would be fair enough to say that there's a back door that's been provided to the government. And the idea that the government is here to help us in any way, form, or fashion is just ludicrous. There's not one up there that wants to solve one thing. They haven't produced the Epstein list. They haven't solved the voter ID deal. They haven't come together on the taxes or inflation. They can't even get the border shut down, stop the flow of fentanyl, or much less do something about Ukraine. That is because they are all benefiting from it. And what is going to happen is the United States is going to make a downward spiral, and me and you are going to be left to suffer, and they're going to go to another country. And then they'll turn off all our phones, just like they did all the beepers, shut all the trucks down. And everyone will starve to death. And that's a fact. And we learned that yesterday. Fluent English.